For some reason, when I am presenting, I am unable to see the questions. So Corinne, if there's
I'm going to jump back there and feed you.
Yeah,
No
perfect.
problem. Well, let's see. Well, everyone, it's the top of the hour. I'm sure we'll have a few people join us late, but we want to welcome everyone. I want to introduce our feature speaker. I'm Corinne Hoisington, and I am a teacher and professor in Virginia, but I help with Bytespeed and the latest in virtual reality. And Aditya and I met a few months back, and I'm so excited to share what he's doing with the InSpirit virtual labs and science education. We do meet almost every month and share different apps with you. And so we welcome you back as well. Well, without further ado, Aditya, I'll let you take the stage. Thank you so.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Corinne, for having me here today. Do I need to do anything about the recording, or has it?
I've already taken care of it.
Fantastic. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Aditya, and I want to be available as a resource to all of you. I am a Knight Hennessy Scholar at Stanford University at the School of Education. We have been researching and working at the cutting edge of immersive virtual reality, as well as of immersive science and STEM simulations at Stanford. InSpirit is a company that was founded from my research at the university, really trying to accelerate the pace at which we could bring the best of science education to teachers and schools across the United States. Please feel free to reach out to me or my team at any point of time, and we're happy to help you answer any questions and just think through any of the questions you may be asking around bringing VR or bringing labs, virtual labs to your classroom. I'm going to start with a couple of quick, just some background on why and how VR really works. If you've ever put yourself in a headset, everything I'm going to talk about today assumes that VR is real enough for you to believe that you are somewhere else. This is a very popular experience that we use in our lab at Stanford very often. It's called Walk the Plank, and we make you walk the plank on the top of a skyscraper in your headset. And it's really funny because when I ask participants in the headset to jump off the plank, most people recognize and they know that this is an animated world. It's fake. It's not real. I'm in a room. I'm safe. I'm not on the top of a 55-story building or a skyscraper trying to jump off the building. But when you do make that leap in VR, the subconscious part of your brain, the part that's your fight or flight response, has not sufficiently evolved to recognize that this is not a real world. And so it generates the same response in your body as if you were there. In research, we call that presence, and presence is really everything with immersive simulations. Presence is the ability to make you believe subconsciously, not consciously, but subconsciously, that you are somewhere else. And we have evidence that shows that when you can establish presence, you can truly transform one's learning and one's perception of that world. We take that same experiment and we apply it to a bunch of different simulations in our lab, where we can put you in the shoes of a superhero. In this case, this person right here is flying in the body of a superhero through a city trying to save a baby. And we have evidence that shows that just by spending a few minutes in this body of a superhero, the student starts developing more altruistic tendencies in the real world. And so VR as a tool is really performing a very powerful role of being a behavior change instrument to really transform student behavior, attitudes, and perceptions of an experience. Another popular VR experience we have at Stanford takes you in under the ocean, into the middle of the ocean, in the middle of a coral reef, and it shows you how the coral crystals and the coral reef is dying out due to an increase in acidity of the ocean. And we've been able to measurably show changes in students' biases, perceptions, and stereotypes towards climate change and towards environmental education just by spending some time in these labs. My team's dream, and through InSpirit, our goal was to take the best of what we knew in the lab, all of these experiences I just showed you, and bring that to schools. And so we started with VR around 2.5 years ago now, doing a bunch of pilot experiments in schools. We started in Georgia because that's where we had a bunch of school partners. And we started out with a very simple biology experience back in 2018. This was a microscopic tour that was aligned with the NGSS as as well as with Georgia state standards. And it took you into the cell at the microscopic level. And we had an entire lab experience at the microscopic level inside of a cell, learning about DNA replication, protein synthesis in VR. And this was just 5 to 10 minutes of very basic VR, and we were able to demonstrate very high increases in student confidence, student critical thinking skills, as well as an increase in engagement, retention, and interest. The gold standard really for us is to bring interactive, experiential, curiosity-driven, and inspiring simulations to science education. And we did not want to be limited to just one lab or one simulation, but we wanted to be a complete solution for the classroom, because we recognize the importance of having a large collection of labs and a large collection of tools that could transform and enhance the learning experience. At the same time, another reason for why we want to do VR is because, I mean, we have data that shows that more than 70% of instructors today are looking for new ways to engage their students. This is data from the pre-COVID era, and I think in the post-COVID world, these numbers have only gone up. Many students, more than half, are very unhappy with current educational content that they have available to them. A lot of learning content you'll see is very much of the typical video format. It's a person with a whiteboard, they're drawing on the whiteboard and they're talking. It's not interactive. It's not how science was supposed to be. And the biggest problem is a lot of students at the high school level in this country, as well as at the early college going level, do not finish a course. They drop a science course before it's completed. And this is largely because that confidence, that engagement piece is largely missing from a lot of online as well as offline science content out there. So we decided to really test this out with our platform, and we were able to, over the last 1 year, prove both efficacy and engagement with the Inspirit platform. We ran a bunch of pilot programs, and we were able to show on the left side of this slide increases in critical thinking and student self-efficacy and confidence towards science, while we also showed engagement, where we saw students spending way more time in the simulations than we anticipated, much more than any other learning content out there. And we saw students largely sharing and distributing and being champions of our platform. Our teachers have reached out to us consistently. We're in the pre-launch phase right now, launching our entire platform, and they've been super excited and just big advocates for something like this, because clearly this has been solving a very big need that our teachers have been having with regards to having tools that are interactive, that are hands-on, that can be delivered at home today, but also that can sustainably be used in the long term to deliver science learning content. So Inspirit is a collection of virtual labs that is trying to enhance science learning in the most powerful and engaging way. We believe in learning by doing, and we believe in learning by experiencing. We think exploration and curiosity-driven learning is the way to go. I'm going to play a super quick video now of just some of these samples of labs that we have, and then I'm going to jump deeper into what the actual product looks like. This is a 1-minute video, and just watch it, and we'll talk through what's happening in these videos and in these simulations right after. What you're seeing is our chemistry content on the platform. This is our biology stuff, which is at the microscopic level, where you're manipulating the nucleus, the parts of the cell, and really learning how these organelles are laid out. We give the user or the student complete control to manipulate, pick up, move around stuff as they desire, disassemble, assemble structures, and really understand how these things are laid out. And then this is physics, where we have simulations that you can run to explore the laws of motion. This is projectile motion, for example. We're really trying to learn how objects and phenomena work and interact with each other. We have stuff around buoyancy and a bunch of other physics experiments that you can run and measure and actually collect data on. So, so this is just a quick kind of just a teaser of some of the content modules that we have. The product, really, what we're building is a customizable toolkit for you as a teacher of virtual labs and simulations across biology, chemistry, and physics. We continuously expand and grow our library, but today we have content available across all the 3 sciences. These are simulations that can be edited, modified, and customized by you to align with your standards and with your needs. In biology, as we saw a couple of examples, we take you into the microscopic world, and our biology labs are all inside of the human body or inside of cells. You're learning protein synthesis, DNA replication. Our entire curriculum is also available on our website. These are all free explore worlds, so there's no narrator, there's no storyline, there's no voiceover. Rather, you as a student, you are actively picking up stuff, moving around, and exploring these spaces on your own. In physics, which is our most popular content, we have these physics labs where you can virtually perform any Newtonian experiment by picking objects, throwing them, setting up an inclined plane, and dropping balls and objects from the inclined plane. But what's interesting about this, which was not shown in the video, was we also allow students to manipulate or change various parameters, like they have the power to control and change gravity, for example, in a space like this. And so that is another very powerful tool that we're giving to the students, where they can change gravity and experience what it's like to throw a ball on the moon versus throwing a ball on the surface of the earth, for example. And then in chemistry, we have lots of chemistry labs which you can experiment and play with in the macroscopic level, performing experiments, mixing stuff together, but then also zooming into the microscopic level, looking at organic chemistry molecules, looking at states of matter, and really looking at how atoms are laid out as the temperature changes between one state of matter to another. These are all individual labs, or modules is what we like to call them, and we're launching around 15 such modules, and we will be building and adding more and more modules moving forward. But InSpirit is not just a collection of content. We're also a complete end-to-end platform for you as a teacher. These are short labs aligned with standards. These can be easily aligned with virtually any standard, state-wise or national out there. We bring lesson plans and assessments or worksheets that you can integrate into every single module, and I'm going to show you an example of that in a bit. And we have an entire instructor dashboard that you can use to manage your classroom, that you can use to have multiple students, to assign assignments, to look at grades, and to manage an everyday classroom session, very similar to a Google Classroom-like toolkit. And we're hardware agnostic. And so what we mean by that is you do not just need a VR headset, but we work even on the PC, the Mac, the Chromebooks as well, and we're compatible on existing laptops and PC devices in a 2D format. So the only difference between you accessing us on an HTC Vive or an Oculus Rift or an Oculus Quest is that in the case of the PC simulation, you're not moving stuff with your hands as you would in VR, but you're using your keyboard and your mouse. But we have data that shows that the outcomes are the same and are equally powerful in the 2-dimensional non-VR versions of our platform as well. So you can get started today with our non-VR versions if you do not have a headset. Here's what the app looks like. These are just some screenshots I've put in. The entire application launches, and I'll have more details of that in a bit. It launches on the 1st of August, exactly in 2 weeks, but you can sign up right now if you wish to. This is what the student portal looks like. When a student logs in, they are presented with an entire catalog of labs and experiences. They can also complete an assignment. On the top right, on the top bar, there is an assignments tab that they can go to, and you as a teacher can assign specific experiences to them to complete and to do. And when a student is completing the assignment, they have a worksheet that is presented to them side by side that they're actively filling out and completing as they complete the activity. So it's not just a game or just a cool movie that they're watching, but they're actually solving something real time as they complete this activity. And that's really an interesting piece that we've seen teachers find very valuable. This worksheet is customizable. You as a teacher, you can edit this and you can add your own questions that are relevant to you or your classroom or your standards or your lesson plan. This is what the teacher portal looks like. You can set yourself up with as many classrooms as you wish, and then within a classroom, you can assign an assignment. Like I said, you can customize the worksheet, adding your own dumb text, your own questions that your students will solve. And if it's multiple choice, it's also auto-graded. And so you can get all the results in a grade book at the end of the day. So you can look at student completion rates as well as how they've been engaging with these virtual labs. How you should integrate this as a teacher. We are compatible if you want to do stuff in the classroom, which may not be the case for most of you, but in the future, you can do these in labs. We have seen a lot of our schools use VR, create VR labs where students work in groups in the lab environment or in a science lab or in a library. And you can also do these as homework, as administering these labs as practice tools, because these are repetitive. Students can have new worksheets in the same lab, and you can have them practice hands-on science at their own pace, at home, accessible via any device, any Mac or PC, Windows device that they have available to them at home. So you can sign up for free today. All our labs are available completely for free. Like I said, we launch on the 1st of August. Here's where you go to sign up for this. When you sign up on the free plan, which is completely going to be free forever, we include all the labs, the worksheets, and new content also that is released is going to be available on the free tier. If you're interested in some of the gradebook management tools, we're also doing live classes at some point in the future, as well as additional tools around customizable assignments and classroom tools, then it's going to cost you $5 per month for your entire classroom. And we have other enterprise and other large scale plans available if you want to roll this out at a larger scale. Please do reach out directly to me. We also have contact details on our website that you can go to get more details. You should also check out our YouTube channel. It's Inspirit Learning. If you just search on YouTube, we have some examples of live classes as well as examples of other content. And I only say this because our app is not yet, we have not launched our app until the 1st of August, the complete app. So between now and then, if you want to see some examples and share this with your community, you can go to our YouTube channel and do that. Our website is InspiritVR.com. We have interesting blogs with teachers like you who have been using our content in the past and have shared their insights and experiences. And you can always, like I said, contact me and sign up today for our August 1st rollout of the product. That's all I had. And I'm going to leave the slide up for a bit, and I'm really happy to answer questions and take things forward. Corinne?
Yes, we have our first question, and the question was, did you code this in Unity or maybe the Unreal Engine?
Yeah, so all our content is built on Unity. Unity is what we use for all our platforms and everything.
Good. Let's open it up for questions if anybody wants to ask live or ask in the chat tool. And we, as many things as you can consider and think of right here. I think this will be, I really was impressed. I love that the students could do this with remote learning at home in our setting. And then when we do have face-to-face, even if it's every other day, that would give us a great time for them to really check out the VR as well. So it kind of gives you both those environments right there. Let's see, Sharon asked the question, are there different grade levels here?
Yes, so we're very compatible across grade levels. The cool thing is, if you think about it with subjects like physics, chemistry, and biology, generally across the grade levels, what happens is it's the fundamental concepts and the fundamental topics remain the same. It's the complexity and the level of depth and detail that differs and varies. So we have worked with schools that work with kids at the middle school range all the way to college students. And the reason we can do this is because we're customizable. So you can bring on your own multiple choice questionnaire, you can bring on your own assessments, and you can align and customize the lab specifically for your grade level. We've seen the sweet spot is certainly high school and junior high, but we have also worked with teachers that have worked with kids at the 6th and 7th grade level, as well as early undergraduate colleges and degree programs.
Thank you. Other questions, anyone? I want to make sure that I was going to now in a moment, but feel free to continue with asking questions. I wanted to share with you the hardware side of this, just so you can kind of complete the equation. So this doesn't, of course, have to have VR, but we would highly recommend that you'd want to use VR when you have students face-to-face. So let's see, there's one more question. Would you say that this is compatible with upper grade elementary students is the other question.
So, I mean, we haven't actually had anyone try it out with upper grade elementary students. The really wonderful thing about this is because it's a self-paced, student-driven experience. We are fairly confident that most students really enjoy and learn a lot from this. You as the teacher have control on what kinds of questions you want to pop in and how you want to guide your students through this experience. So our platform is going to be available. The free tier does exist. So please feel free to take this and let us know if this works for you and if we can help you out with any kind of customization.
Great. Let's see. Any other questions here? Feel free if anyone wants to ask. And if you have any comments, if you want to say this looks pretty interesting or anything along those lines, if you would pass it over and I'll start sharing my screen as well.
Of course.
Guys. Okay. It says the host has stopped it. Let's see what's going on here with the sharing of screen. There we go. Perfect. Okay, I'll share my screen. Once again, everyone, we'd love for you to take a look at InspiritVR.com. And they do have one thing I wanted to share with everybody before I show you the hardware. They have some curriculum and some free lessons for you to try right now. And I think that would be a good way to kind of look at what everything looks like with the lesson plans. I went into this one earlier with biology and introduction to the cell. All kinds of videos and all these different pieces to go along with this. So I'd recommend heading out to the site. I want to share with you what some of the hardware looks like here in all of this. And what I really see all of this is, you know, virtual reality is now the fuel for the learning journey. And I really think what we're now seeing in schools across the country is a learning system that's scalable and wildly entertaining. And sometimes I get people to go, what do you mean wildly entertaining? This is education. I think what we really want to do is awaken a student's curiosity. And what's really great about the Inspirit product is it goes beyond the curiosity and it really makes learning addictive. And when they can visualize and see what they need to do instead of just looking at a flat picture in a book somewhere. You know, what we're now seeing is the headsets, and I'll kind of share with you some of the major names on the hardware side. I'm representing bytespeed.com/VR, so if you want to take a look at that hardware there, what we're trying to do is make a turnkey solution for you. So to put the Inspirit apps on the machines for you, any other apps that you might select. And what I do and help is I'm a lead trainer for ByteSpeed. So you would understand how do you put these apps on. We come out to your school face-to-face or virtual, whatever you prefer, and show you how to use the hardware, the equipment, and then show you thousands of other apps that your other departments might use outside of chemistry and outside of biology as well. So this is called the Vive Pro. It's probably one of the biggest headsets used in education right now. We're talking about the headset, 2 hand controllers. It also can come on a cart, and it's connected to a high-end computer. The high-end computer gives those beautiful graphics. The other right there is also the Oculus Rift. The Rift S is also one of the best pieces of equipment out there. And you say, well, which one's better? Based on what your needs are at your school, I can recommend, they're both in the same exact price category, but there's a little bit of differences on which apps might work. Now, notice that we also, in the Inspirit, can also run on the Oculus Quest. The difference between the first 2 that I showed you and the Quest is that you don't need the high-end computer to go with it, but there are less apps and less immersive views in the what we call the midline compared to the upper line here. What we're really seeing out there is there's now a lot of deep learning VR apps. And the concept here is that the student can visualize very difficult subjects from math and science. And we even see it in the career and technical fields. There are VR apps that are available for kindergarten and all the way through graduate level is what we're seeing. To get a good idea of what some of these apps would include, if you would jot down this website right here, bitespeed.com/VR apps, you can see what are some great STEM apps, CTE apps, elementary and middle school, high school and college. And some of these are free. Of course, the better ones are paid, and you can kind of see what that would look like. So if you go to this website, you can click on each one of these, watch a video. And what I would do is, if you're interested, is sit down with you and any of your curriculum and staff and say, okay, we want solutions for STEM. I would absolutely recommend Inspirit, but you might also want some other apps that are also available loaded on the same machine. What we're now seeing is if you're in something like Career Pass, you may see apps that now look like this as well.
Man, I high Staten Island is the place I rep. I put my heart and soul into the very depth. As I walk, people staring, they're like, how this kid swagger so tight? Oh my God, I'm a money-making machine. Inquired all the time, questions pop up. Where I'm getting that green.
So for example, there are apps in robotics. There are apps that might teach any type of career path. For example, maybe apps that would have something welding. So what we're now seeing is there's this wide span of excellent apps that you might consider for any of your programs, from automotive. In the science area, in addition to Inspirit, you may want to use something like 3D Organize as well. Around and see some of these is a game changer. And then in the STEM field, we even see where there are apps that do some specialty items. Let's start. Nursing at our school is using this type of app to make sure everyone's ready for CPR. So we really want to share with you that there are, including Inspirit, a complete solution of that would make the hardware worth the cost. The most unique one I've seen recently is called Flame Trainer. They're using this with our career pathways for firefighters. And how it works is the heat of the fire is felt in a VR jacket that you're actually wearing. As you get closer to the fire, it gets warmer and warmer. And you even get the kickback from the hose. So it's just unbelievable with the spans of apps that are out there. And that's what I really wanted to share with you, is I want you to see that if you buy the VR equipment, you would have so many value-added pieces. We're even using it for public speaking and speech. You can pick your avatar and be in the boardroom, the classroom, anywhere. Work on public speaking, work on slides or PowerPoint, or the old-fashioned note card, I guess. Just to make sure students are prepared for this new environment. Never a dull moment, right? So we're really seeing that these high-end virtual reality is both immersive and interactive. And I loved that Adi just shared with you the white paper on the information of how this is really working. We've seen companies that have now investigated into the classroom. Students will actually have had up to an 11% higher grade level with the classes using virtual reality in comparison to those who are not using VR. And that's really indicative because you know, it's not the A student going any higher. You reach 100%, you're at 100%. But what we're seeing with VR is some of the C, D, and F students getting sometimes 1 to 2 letter grades higher. That's a game changer. And VR allows us to do things such as, I was watching in Spirit, how they were going into the nuclei of an atom. Let's face it, we cannot do that in real life typically, unless we have high-end microscopes that would cost well beyond any of our classroom budgets. But in VR, we can practice and try things and visualize. We're now seeing in biology classes, we're doing dissections. For example, you can now dissect frogs and pigs. And for ethical reasons, this, in the state of California, for example, they had legislation that would outlaw any real dissection because of the ethical treatment of animals. So this way, not only are we treating animals ethically, the students can repeat the process over and over again, where in real class, let's face it, we can only dissect things one time. So we're seeing these 2 different levels of VR. The Oculus Quest and the HTC Focus, the price of just the headset and the controllers runs between $400 to $700. It's up to which one. But with high end, and I want to kind of show you, this is what the carts look like right here. You don't have to buy a cart, but a lot of schools do buy a cart so that they can take the VR equipment directly into the classroom. Or a lot of schools are starting to buy labs and a complete system of, let's say, an Oculus Rift S with a cart, with $100 worth of apps on board, with a monitor, with a high-end computer that's got a gig terabyte and everything. That would be more in the price point of around $3,200 if you're curious. But what we've done at our school is we actually wrote the Perkins Grant, which is for federal funding of K-12 and colleges for science and career tech departments. And we actually got a $25,000 grant that bought us an entire lab of these. So that way students could work in groups of 2 or 3 or 4, and that way they could be working on a lab together. And I'd be happy if you email me. I've shared my email. I'll share your Carl Perkins Grant so that you would just have to change your school name to be able to get some funding for your schools to get some of this equipment as you move along. And think of it outside. We see apps like Zoe can be used as far as doing creativity and arts. So it's not just for our science realms. There's all kinds of ways that students can create their own VR experiences as well. Okay, well, you're starting to see this bigger picture of what VR brings to the table, no matter what job pathway and movement. I even wanted to close before I open up for questions here, is that we can now even go into areas at Stanford University. I thought I would show this as well. They now have apps for psychology and sociology. This particular app is called Becoming Homeless. And under the circumstances that a lot of us are dealing with poverty, job loss.
Welcome back to KFM 98.2. This is Derek Douglas with your daily news.
So there's just so many apps out there so that you can walk a day in the life of someone else and start to understand what they are going through. I love this one because you can pick the color of your hands at the beginning of the app to make it feel that you are the first person experiencing this app. So we're seeing this across the board here. Well, now take a moment to stop and ask some questions. Feel free to ask questions. To me, this is not a matter of if your school will start to use VR. It's, to me, a matter of when. We also provide training at Bytespeed. I'm one of the trainers who will actually come to your school. And I think training is helpful so that the equipment doesn't get dusty, that you understand how to use apps and how to put them into your lesson plans. What is the safety piece? Nowadays, we can actually clean any of the headsets with different kind of disinfectant as well as ultraviolet light to keep them safe between usage. And here's some of my information here. Let me drop out of this and now go back into Zoom so I can see everyone here. So let me go back to show our video panel and see everyone. Would you like to add anything as well to our closing here? And then I'll look at some of the questions.
Yeah, I mean, this is just really fantastic. Thank you for sharing all of this with everyone. And yeah, I mean, I am more than happy to also talk about how we can think about the right places to bring VR into your classroom, into your learning environment, especially with remote learning being the norm moving forward for many of you. We have worked with schools that have some very interesting systems in place for how they allow students to check out devices, how they allow learners to also access devices through screen sharing and a bunch of other workarounds. And we are happy to chat and help answer questions wherever useful.
Well, before we close, we are recording today, so get back with us if you'd like this. Because we are in the midst of July, our numbers aren't great today, but what we're going to do, I'm going to put them on a spot right now. I would love to see if we can repeat this in August for your big kickoff as well. And we'll have a lot more teachers who aren't on vacations during this exact time. So we'll work on that date and share with everyone. Contact us both. We just want to both thank you. Do you want to close this out?
Yeah, please go for it. Thank you so much, everyone. And my contact details were shared earlier, and I've also dropped it in the chat. It's my first name, Aditya, at InspiritVR.com.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you all, and we'll talk to all of you soon. Take care. Thank you.